Welcome to Real Geek Media. It is Thursday, February 13th, 2025. I am Hayden Stoll here with author Christopher Michael Blake and our special guest this week, Sophomore.
One name, just like Cher.
I was going to say you're a Brazilian soccer player.
Sophomore, I ain't scared, one of a kind.
So we're back again, second week in a row, making up for some lost time. Christopher, what's new?
Hayden, apparently after this episode, I've been roped into doing true crime. So we'll see how that works and if we want to continue to try to do something like this. But I'm excited about at least giving something different a little try. You know, it's kind of like going from missionary to doggy. You know,
I mean, that's
been
one
there,
way to
done that, but just, a little bit different.
I mean, when I think about this show, that's kind of what I compare it to, too. And now that we have Sophomore in here, I mean, we could do both.
I mean, now you can do anything your mind comes.
Now, Sophomore, did he tell you about the banana suit that he's going to wear?
I mean, as long as he brings a ladder, it'll be fine.
Just making sure he told you about that. It's latex.
Easy cleanup.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh my goodness.
He might like to talk hockey, but that ain't the puck he's playing with.
Oh,
we're 2 minutes in. This is
Oh.
Yeah. We just go straight into the crash and burn.
Yeah.
But
sure.
We're really here this week to talk about the 30th anniversary of Michael Mann's Heat in 1995. This is a classic heist movie. I think it's kind of sets the bar for a lot of what heist movies and these kinds of thriller movies want to do. I don't know are you guys fans of Michael Mann at all?
Give me his dossier, Hayden.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I got to
I
pull
told
it up.
you get excited.
There we go. Michael Mann. I guess find his filmography. Okay, Thief in 1981, as James Caan was in that. Christopher, you and I watched The Keep a year ago, I think. To mixed reviews. Manhunter, Last of the Mohicans.
Another great one.
Heat, The Insider, Ali, Collateral, Miami Vice, Public Enemies, Black Hat, and Ferrari.
Yeah. Ford versus Ferrari, very good. I've seen that in theaters.
He was actually the executive producer on that one, but his movie was Ferrari with Adam Driver, which I don't think as many people went to see that.
I did not see that one, no.
Yeah. I guess he was big into that whole Ford v Ferrari. He's like, I could make my own movie of this, and just didn't work out. I'm a huge fan of Michael Mann. He was involved in Miami Vice television series, or the creation of, and he's got a very his films have grounded in reality. It's really gritty and grimy. You have criminals, you have cops. A lot of his films center around some of that. I'm a big fan. His more recent works are not as well received. Christopher, I think we saw Black Hat together. That might have been 2016. I don't even know if you remember that one.
That was the one with Thor.
Chris Hemsworth as a hacker.
That was not a very good movie. I was not happy with that one.
It had its moments, but it had some good scenes that, you kind of wish there was more stuff like that. But in any case, we're here talking about Heat today. So the first time you see it, you've seen this. I don't know. This was I was a senior in high school when it came out. I did not see it that year. I saw this in college, and or I guess I was a freshman in college.
Freshman college, yeah.
And it really it draws you in because you got the criminal side, you got the cop side that are chasing them. Last week we talked about Den of Thieves, and I my feeling was that I was trying to be a more modern version of Heat, and in ways I think it attempted that. But this is really again the blueprint for it. You're involved in both sides. You're involved in you get the heist at the beginning. They knock over the armored truck for the bonds, and then here comes the the robbery homicide division. They're starting to investigate. Right off the bat, compelling characters, compelling dialogue, good action, realism. Yeah, it's a fun movie. Fun movie. Sophomore, what did you think?
So I may have a little bit of a unique perspective here because the first time I saw this movie was 2 days ago.
Yes.
Because I had thought I had seen this movie. I knew all the scenes. I knew everything. And then I'm like, let me rewatch it just to be prepared. And I'm 20 minutes in. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this. And then I realized I have not seen this in its entirety. So I had my first go through of the entire movie. My wife was out 23 minutes in. She was already asleep. But I went through the whole thing. Yeah, I may have some hotter takes on some of the things. I like some of the things it did. I dislike some of the stuff it did. So I'm curious to see where we land on some of it. Maybe it's just me coming from it from a 2025 perspective rather than a late 90s, early 2000s perspective. Don't know, but there was some good, some bad for me.
Nice. Christopher, what about you?
This is a stark contrast to the movie we reviewed last week, Den of Thieves 2.
Yeah.
You start off and Macaulay's walking through the hospital, and he goes to hit the button, and he uses his elbow because he doesn't even want to leave a fingerprint or anybody to see he's wearing gloves when he's stealing the ambulance. And that's something Den of Thieves 2 just lacked. There was any kind of intelligence, any kind of setup, anything that they kind of put together. Then you got Tom Sizemore's character, Slick going to pick up Wayne Grow, who's like the biggest scumbag on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the homeless guy under the freeway that you could find in prison. It's like, oh, come on, hang up.
Wayne Grow.
Well, that's the truth. And it's just, it's a very good, smart movie. I didn't like how he named Trejo's character Trejo. But
when in
that
doubt,
threw me for a little bit.
It was either that or Machete, but they went with Trejo, which is fine.
It was funny. I was watching a interview with him today, and he was talking about the director Robert Rodriguez in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and he handed him a knife when he came in for the audition. It says, "You look like every guy who used to beat me up in high school." That's what Rodriguez said to him. And Trejo said, "I was every guy who beat you up in high school." Because he'd been through San Quentin and he'd been in all these different prisons. And Rodriguez handed him a knife and says, "Twirl this." And Trejo was sitting there twirling it with his fingers. And Rodriguez sent him home. And Trejo was like, that was like the oddest audition I've ever kind of had. I'd never had one like this before. And he called his agent. His agent goes, "Well, I haven't really heard anything, but you got the part." And Trejo had to practice flipping the knife in his hand for like months to be able to twirl it. He was even doing it on planes back, I guess, before 9/11 happened, where he was able to take a knife on the plane, I guess, which is a crazy side story. But it has nothing to do with heat, but just an interesting kind of story, I guess.
In 95, like he was, I know Desperado came out right around that time too.
96, I think.
Yeah. So he
blood
really,
in, blood out.
Yeah, he started popping up in a lot of things around this time.
Mexicana May, I think. Yeah, I mean,
And
American May, was that it? Yeah, there's a lot of different, because he always played the same kind of criminal gangbanger. But the bigger disappointment for this movie is Tom Sizemore's career. You watch him in this movie, he does a fantastic job.
He's
and you're
so
like,
good. He's really good in this movie.
This guy just flushed his entire career down the toilet for drugs. Saving Private Ryan. I mean, just so many good, Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Just so many great movies, and you're like, oof.
You bring up Sizemore, and it's like with him, outside of like, if you're not looking at it in this movie, and what I come to expect from Sizemore is like overacting and kind of just real, like, just way verging on like Nicolas Cage kind of crazy. He's so grounded in this movie that it's like, whoa, wait, that was Tom Sizemore. Like, he's really grounded in this movie. He's good. He's good for, obviously it's not a huge part, but what I really liked about each side, like the robbers and the cop side, is each of the characters was distinguishable from another. They each had their own kind of traits. They didn't look the same. They all looked a little different. So you could easily like tell them apart. And on the cop side, the same thing, right? You know, obviously the most you get is DeNiro, or I'm sorry, Al Pacino, right? But you kind of get who his, you know, right-hand man is and who
Monk.
the other guys. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a monk, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, you kind of get that those guys are all fleshed out, right? And, you know, and what I'm getting at is, and I was going to show this to you guys later, this movie originated as a TV series Michael Mann developed. It's called LA Takedown. I don't know if anybody knows about this. Just by your looks, Christopher, it's a no. Sophomore says no.
I'll give a verbal no.
So LA Takedown was developed as a TV series, kind of like, oh, we're going to do like a LA version of Miami Vice. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they didn't pick it up as a series. They turned it into a television movie. And I actually watched that as well. It's directed by Michael Mann. It's basically, if you were to watch like a Temu version of Heat, it's basically that. Or if you went to go make a Heat fan film, that's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Right. And I'm going to show you real quick, just some side by sides, just indulge.
Now, these aren't clips, are they?
Yeah.
I'd be careful. Good, we're good.
We're good.
What do you mean?
We're good. We're going to stop it. We're not letting the whole thing run. Stop. We'll stop it in partway through. It's a real brief clip.
Heat versus LA Takedown.
I roll with you, whatever. Not on this one, Michael. On this one, you make up your own mind.
Oh, that sounds
I
familiar.
roll with you, Neil, whatever. Whatever. No, not on this one, Michael. On this one, you're on your own.
Right. Like it's seriously like the Kmart version of, you know, that theatrical one. Right. You know, and there's more to it. It's just, you could see like the actors are just, okay, I have Robert De Niro and then I have this other kind of guy who's, you know, not Robert De Niro. And, you know, it really looks like a college film, right? That's what it looks like. So it's interesting when you give him the budget. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I would just say, it feels like he wrote that line. It was like, this is too good of a line to not use. And granted, it's a great line, but he really was like, I got to put this in something else if this isn't gonna make it.
So like like the characters are all the same, right? It's this, some of the names change in it, but you know, it's Vincent Hanna, it's, you know, Michael, it's the whole crews are the same. It's just an odd, like it's on YouTube, you could go pull it and watch LA Takedown. It's like an hour and a half. And you're just gonna be like, oh my God, like I feel like I could have made this movie in college. Like it's that weird when you watch it. But yeah, you can see when you get a budget and you get like actual, you know, expensive cameras and top tier actors, what you can do with it, right? Mm-hmm. Basically the same story, but you get the lines delivered in a manner that there's more weight to them, right? And you get better performances. It's interesting. Check it out. LA Takedown.
I think it's interesting to note that, you know, Tom Sizemore in the movie is supposed to be the heavy, right? He's supposed to be the tough guy. He's supposed to be the tall guy in the movie, the big built guy, right? I mean, that's what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How tall do you think Tom Sizemore is?
Oh, maybe 5'10".
That was an excellent guess, Hayden. I would have said 6 foot. So, I mean, like, I'm taller than him. You tower over him. I mean, that's just crazy.
I think when you cast like Al Pacino as your lead, you kind of stay in that range because he's kind of on the short side. So you don't want somebody towering over him.
But still, Val Kilmer played Batman.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was, we're going to pick somebody who's short. I mean, you would think, DeNiro, I don't think of a short guy when I think DeNiro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
I had to ask, Sophomore, you said you weren't
Yeah.
so impressed with some of this movie. What were you not impressed with?
So I felt like the movie could have ended about 45 minutes sooner than it did, in my opinion. And I understand why after seeing it. I'm like, okay, I get what they were trying to go for. Why the extra scenes were, like Natalie Portman's character at that point hadn't done anything, but had been in like 2 scenes and then was gone for 2 hours. And I was like, okay, I guess that plot line isn't going anywhere. And then it did. So I get why. But I remember distinctly pausing it to grab a drink and going, there is an hour left in this movie. And I feel like it's going to end in 10 minutes. So I'm like, where is this going to go? So at that point, I was losing a little bit of hope. I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do here. They did clean up. I like how they finished that trail. How was it Neil, Robert De Niro's character, couldn't let it go, and they show him like fighting with it. He can get away. He's done. He's won, and he's going back. He's going back in. He has to have it. I disagree with the lighting at the end. I feel like Al Pacino would have been blinded by that light. There's no way he's hitting that shot, in my opinion. I get that he saw the shadow, but that's a tough shot. But I like the way that it ended there. But those were some of the things I wasn't too great with. I wasn't also that big of a fan of Al Pacino with the loud parts where he would just randomly scream things. I know that's part of his charm, part of his acting. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I prefer Robert De Niro's more stoic, silent type of how he did it. But yeah, just some of the notes off the top of my head.
Is he here? Is he under the desk?
Yeah.
Under the table?
Yeah.
You're pulling my string. He'll
Yeah,
be
some of
here on
those-
Wednesday.
Felt just a little out of place. It worked well, like when they were like, "Oh, we're being spotted," when they're looking for where they're trying to find it, and they're actually realize they're being watched. I liked it there. I'm like, that makes sense. He's like, "Oh, they're good. Like they're watching me right now. Hey, you motherfucker! Like I know you're staring at me. Like I get that." But other times he's just like singing while they're like, I don't know where they went, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why are you doing this? So yeah, it worked and it didn't.
It's interesting that you point out Pacino and his over-the-top antics in this movie, because according to Hank Azaria, in the film scene where he's brought into, they're going to extradite him back to Jersey for the cigarettes, which is a big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And like we don't have more than that going on in Jersey. But they bring him in. They allegedly filmed that scene 60 times.
Jesus.
And I guess Pacino had gotten so fed up with having to do it 60 times that he did that over the top that made Hazaria like actually like trying to flinch back, because he was like, she's got a great ass. And it was
the line. Yeah.
Yeah. And your head's way up it. And it was one of those, again, 60 takes for one scene.
In
But I
that
guess-
context, makes complete sense.
Yeah,
why he would do that.
I mean, imagine sitting there as like the extra, the extra cop sitting in there, just, all right, I'm still sitting here trying to pretend I'm interested still.
Mm-hmm.
Takes 68 hours filming the same scene. Hank Azaria with the guy who's a poo from The Simpsons. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah.
But you got in that a genuine reaction, right? Like, and that scene is so like memorable to this movie. And I do agree with some of Sophomore's points about kind of Pacino just really tearing into some of this. I guess it lends its credence to its character, right? Like that's all he's got. That's all he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the job. And he's doesn't function inside like the like a marriage or a family. He doesn't really work. Third marriage. He's never home. We see that throughout. So I guess the one thing that he can do is police work and investigate crimes and try and solve crimes. And he's just that's his wheelhouse. And he's just a little nuts on that.
Well, yeah, he consumes them just like it does Robert De Niro's character. It consumes him. All he knows how to do is, pull heists, and he's really good at it. And he doesn't want to do anything else. And that's the same way with Al Pacino's character. He doesn't want to do anything else. He's good at it. He's the best. Why would I do something else? So even though that could be tearing down his relationship with his wife or any type of personal life, deep down, it's who he is. So, he's doing what he wants to do.
And I think, Christopher, you made a point about how De Niro's character, Neil, is kind of really struggling with it. I'm going to get out of here with, my girl, or I got time. I can go get this guy because I got to get revenge on this guy. You know what I mean? Like, he really struggles with it a little bit, and you could see how he's just fighting that. And then he goes and, he's like, it wins him over. He's got to go and shoot Waingro. He's got to take him out. And that's ultimately his downfall.
Well, he
could have been out.
The entire scene in the diner where they're talking about their dreams. And De Niro tells them, I'm drowning and I have to wake myself up or I'll die in my sleep. And Pacino tells me, oh, you know what that's about? He goes, yeah, it's about time and being able to get done with things I have to get done. And it ties up the whole character nicely because it's the whole, I got to get Van Zandt, I got to grab Waingro at the same time, and I got to find time to go get the guy who killed Michael and the whole thing. And still get away with Edie, who's kind of like, he didn't really kind of follow his mentor's advice from prison, I guess. But
that was one thing that really stuck out with me. The relationship with Edie, I felt like it was like they talked 3 times and she's like, I'm locked in forever. You are just so charismatic. You're so cool. I'm here. And part of me was like, did they do a time tunnel where they've been together for like 2-3 weeks and now they're at this point? I'm like, oh, it's been one night and she's already like into it, leaving everything behind. So it was a little bit of a stretch, but I really liked the way that she played the scene in the car where she's like looking towards him. He's coming out of the hotel after killing Waingro, and she almost like panicked, like, are you gonna get in the car? Are we going away now? And then when Al Pacino's character just runs by her as De Niro's character is leaving, just this like, well, what do I do now? I'm just here. I would have liked to have seen how that resolved out, but I guess that's really kind of the last scene we see of her in there. But yeah, that character was locked on very early and very quickly, so that threw me a little bit early on.
Yeah, what is the timetable? Say like about a week, maybe, in this movie?
The whole thing, I'm trying to think of how many times they were like night scene. Yeah, I would probably say about a week, if that makes sense to me.
There's so many time skips, I don't think you can reliably kind of tell. You know that they're going to pull that second heist coming up soon.
Yeah.
And that's where they kind of get they're out there and the police officer makes the noise with his gun and all right, we got to split. We got to go right now. They're not carrying anything, which I thought was a very smart scene. Hey, we want to get these guys. Well, no, we'll get them for what? Breaking and entering? They'll be out in 6 months. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And then you go to, okay, well, now we got this other job kind of lined up. But first he's got to go meet these guys and buy the stuff. And Chris is having problems with Ashley Judd's character. And, it could be a week. It could be a week and a half. It could be even longer because, let's face it, Neil's crew's out there doing surveillance on the cops in between all this.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, do you set that up in like one day? Like, oh, we'll do all this stuff because we know we're being watched. And I mean, I don't know. It's just very interesting to think about could be a week. I think it could be a little bit longer.
It would make a lot more sense if it was longer, to
Yeah.
be able to set up all of that and get all the right approvals and people and equipment. You're not doing that overnight, especially with the police. They're not, you're not getting all that together in like one day. Though at the same time, they went from like Al Pacino's character, or Vincent, in a helicopter to a car chase to all of that. And I'm like, does my town have like a helicopter that they just, I'm going to a car chase, pick me up at exit 156. I'm going to be on the side of the highway. But yeah, it led to the great diner scene where they had that conversation. Really had them, and I guess that's one of the probably the biggest scene I would say in the movie is that conversation.
For me,
it's gonna be the bank scene where the shootout scene.
Yes.
I say I'll remember a lot of that. I'll probably remember it most because Ted Levine, Bosco, when he just ate it, got shot, and they just held on him for a second. I remember I went, oh shit. Like his character's just done. Like that's it. No fanfare. No holding his head up while saying, "Oh, tell my son." No, he's just gone. That's it. And I feel like now a lot of movies now they will draw that out for 7 minutes, and it was just 1 second down. And you talked about realism a lot, and that's how it would happen. It's really sad, but somebody would they're just down. There's no speech and the whole thing. He's just down. That really took me by surprise. But I would say just for like that one-on-one, I'll probably remember those two scenes the most. The diner scene, them having that conversation, and of course the shootout.
Now, I know with the shootout that there are certain police and federal agencies that will show that bank robbery scene and the way that the formation in terms of Chris and Macaulay working their way up to the cars and doing tactical exchanges where they're dropping their clips and then they're speed reloading and one will take cover while the other one's reloading while the other one's providing cover fire. They will show that clip to police and law enforcement and to different military agencies to show what a tactical exchange should look like and how you actually go about providing cover. So that does kind of happen because of the realism for that scene. So
the way with the speed at which that whole thing kicks off, right? In other movies, you'll get, okay, they see the cops, then they're like, oh, they're coming. We got to prepare. As soon as Val Kilmer saw the cops, he was just up and firing. There was no thought, no question. He's just, I got to take this guy out, and then boom, you're involved in just the sound quality of the fire exchange is so loud that this for me is like, oh man, this scene is so loud. It's crazy. It's just chaos. And I'm trying to remember, Christopher, you might remember the robbery in LA where they had the body armor. What year was that?
96. It was the year after this.
Okay. So
because a lot of people compared that scene to what happened in the movie Heat, because these guys would not go down.
Yeah.
And the police officers were in LA at the time were very under-equipped. They only had shotguns and handguns at the time, and the rounds weren't penetrating the armor these guys were wearing. So they end up having to bring up the heavy artillery and have M16 assault rifles driven in at the time.
Yeah, didn't that actually change policy that's why they'll at least have a few units that have like an M4 or something like that just because of that situation?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but yeah, that sounds about right though.
Yeah. That scene, the before we move off the diner scene, we had Pacino and DeNiro both in Godfather Part 2. Never shared the screen together, and this was the first time that they shared a screen together. Was that diner scene. And as short as it is, there's good dialogue. Do you see a Born to Lose tattoo on my chest? Just these two guys, we had talked about, their dreams and, their plans. And you know, now that I've been face to face with you, you know, I'm going to take you down. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to do it. Right. And, you know, it's just two guys that respect each other, but are still going to move you out of the way if I have to. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up having that respect for each other, even toward the end of the movie, like when Vincent kills Neil, you know, and, you know, you get the hold his hand, and, you know, I told you I wasn't going back, right? Like, which they used in Den of Thieves at the end of that shootout too. So that became like a staple, right?
Yeah.
And within the shootout, it's they pick up oh man, I forget, Dennis Haysbert to be the driver because Trejo was compromised.
Did you want some
right?
Allstate insurance?
He needed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's covered for that scenario.
That is what my wife said. It was like, where's that guy from? Allstate commercial. And she was like, oh, and I was like, I could tell you other movies, but Allstate commercial. And she's like, that's all right. Yeah, I know who it is.
Pedro Serrano in Major League.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he was like
Fuck you, Jobu.
Yeah.
Jobu no hurt curveball.
That was like early 90s, right?
Oh yeah.
So he was like he was a known face, right?
Maybe
like,
even, right?
Maybe. Yeah. So he was like known around this time, but he has such a tiny part in this movie.
Yeah, I get it though. Why he had his? I wanted him to have a bigger part because I really like him as an actor. But I understand why, because it's kind of like he gets out of prison, and he's like, I'm gonna try to go straight and do this, and he's getting fucked over by the guy at the diner, and he's like, I would be going to prison for less shit than this guy's doing, but he's legit, he's fine, and I got to deal with this. And he goes right back into like, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing it, and within the first few minutes, how long were they in the bank for? Like 6 minutes, something like that. He's down. He's already out and killed. And it's like, wow, they set him up and immediately took him out of the movie again, which jarring in the moment, but watching back, I'm like, I really like how they did that because it made it more impactful to me because I'm like, he's out. He's already done. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, there was a scene in here that I didn't maybe catch or fully comprehend the first couple times I watched it years ago. Danny Trejo's character, is there any doubt that he actually helped set Neil up?
I can speak about this.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a side plot, a little more to this in LA Takedown, where Wayne Grow and the businessman's Henry Rollins character go and they go and they threaten his wife and they make him do it. Right. So that's an LA Takedown. It's not really in Heat. So you're left a little more nebulous as to what happened there. He explains it, but is he believable in the movie? Say, oh, you know, they hurt Anna, they killed my wife. And
well, it looks like they raped her and killed her. So it looks like they did.
Yeah. So in LA Takedown, you kind of have a little more of that. You see a little more of that. And a little difference in the ending is Wayne Grow kills Neil in LA Takedown, and then Vincent Hanna throws him out Nakatomi Plaza.
Wow.
And that's the end of Wayne Grow.
Spoiler alert. Okay.
Yeah. So go check out LA Takedown. It's Timu Heat.
It gives you more context to Heat, I guess, though.
It gives you a
little more insight.
It gives you a little more. And what also is a kind of a plot, a running thread in this movie that doesn't really resonate, I guess, is the Wayne Grow as the serial rapist killer.
Yeah, they set that up, and I was waiting for it to like reach the end, and it just was kind of like it was him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what though? They make you want this guy to get it in the end. Mm-hmm. They want you to see that he's a really not a nice guy. He's talking about the Grim Reaper, and he's kind of sick and demented. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, baby, you were the best," and you know his eyes are all big and bright, and he's find out. Well, he's kind of done this thing before, and his DNA is left on several different victims as well. So again, you're going back to, well, this guy's really not a nice guy, and he deserves everything he kind of gets.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah.
Although I remember thinking, because I always look at this when I'm watching a movie, like if one thing changed, could this entire movie not happen? And the one point where he rolls away after getting knocked down outside the diner, this whole movie doesn't happen if that cop car doesn't drive past and distract Neil's character there. But I thought about it a little bit more, and part of me was just like, this is a cold, calculated guy. He knows what he's doing, and they literally have the trunk set up with the trash bags to get rid of the body. But your initial plan was to shoot the dude in the middle of a parking lot next to a restaurant with 50 people inside, who all just saw you guys sitting there with your faces. Don't know if that's the best plan.
And that one dude was clocking him. You know, that one diner was clocking him after. I think they rammed his head into the table.
Yeah, although Tom Sizemore's look where he's just like, you don't want it. And the dude's like, back to the paper. Like that. I mean, yeah, that was pretty funny. Really set up Tom Sizemore's character there as you put it, the big guy, the muscle.
The heavy, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that struck out to me about this movie that I really enjoyed, because again, I really like this movie. It's a stark contrast from Dead End Thieves 2, which we watched, a couple weeks ago, where I was not impressed at all. It was just not very enjoyable to watch. We're all the great. I mean, they really did a great job of casting this thing. You got Jeremy Piven running around.
Yes,
Jeremy Piven. So Judd ended up getting a couple movies on her as a star on her own after this. You said Danny Trejo, obviously. I mean, the only William Fitcher came out of it. He was in several TV shows. Henry Rollins. And of course, probably the most is Nate.
Yeah, John Voight.
Yeah, I mean, almost you almost don't even recognize him because the makeup is so well done.
Yeah.
Tom Noonan, man,
in the wheelchair. Yeah,
and the guy's like 6'10", I think, in real life.
He's huge. Yeah, he's huge.
I mean, so you have a great cast.
Don't forget Tone Loc.
Oh,
Tone Loc.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I derailed the train right there. Sorry.
No. I like Tone Loc. I still listen to his music. Yeah, I do.
Listen, if we give him a cameo, he could make our theme music. Probably like $50.
That'll set you back a whole $17. But
have you forgot about Bebe's Kids?
I unironically watch Bebe's Kids a little bit.
There you go. All right, so yeah.
All right.
He got a big star from this too. So come on now, lead off Tone Loc. Right.
Although I did really like John Voight's character, Nate. He was just a constant, and I kind of liked that it was just he was there to help. Here's the information. You asked for this. I'm telling you this. And he was all just like that guy you always want in your back pocket to have, where he's like, I solve problems. I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm not a problem. You take care of your stuff. I take care of my stuff.
Yeah.
And he was consistent the whole way. They didn't try to do some flip at the end, like, oh, actually, he was the one feeding. No, it's just, I got you. I hope things work out. See you in another life. Yeah, always very cool to me. Played it very cool.
The guy that Pacino's wife was cheating on him with, Christopher, I don't know if you recognize him.
I do not.
He was in The Walking Dead. What was his name? The guy at the hilltop that was in charge.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah.
Really? I thought he did a good job in The Walking Dead because I hated his character.
Yeah.
Because he was the slimy.
I cannot.
That was him.
The actor's, it's Xander Berkeley. I forget the character's name in Walking Dead, though.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're
talking
about.
And it's funny, I'm going to say it again, LA Takedown, he plays Waingro.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But Waingro has more to do in LA Takedown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I said the character of Waingro, I mean, he's really the only one I didn't really kind of recognize from this entire.
Yeah.
Who kind of didn't come out of it with.
Yeah.
Being a bigger star.
I can't remember seeing that guy in anything at all other than this.
Yeah, he might be a victim of his own success. It might have made him unlikable as an actor because he did such a good job where he was like, I hate that guy. I don't know if I want to Bring him in.
Done.
Yeah, you just, hey man, you could have toned it down a little bit, and you'd be like, hey, it was really good. What do you know? You pet a puppy on the way in, so he's balanced. He has good and bad. I don't know.
It's a shame because he has a bunch of movies that he did, but none of them where he's like the star. So it's
you're
all
looking
like
at his,
extra.
filmography?
It's all like extra stuff. I mean, in The Burbs, he was the cop. Con Air, he was Billy Joe, uncredited. G.I. Jane,
Billy
Instructor Max. I mean, that's
Wow.
just, yeah. Again, nobody you would even kind of be like, oh yeah, I remember him, yeah, which is a shame because he wasn't terrible in this movie. He was pretty good.
No, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Although I remember when they showed the daughter and Natalie Portman walked in, I was just like, is that Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
It is Natalie Portman. Okay, and then I'm like, oh, well, maybe she'll be more a part of it. No, it was before she blew up as an actress, so I was waiting for the character to be more involved, and it was a side character, had some important points, but I was like, when's Natalie Portman coming back? And I'm like, nope, not.
Matilda.
No,
No,
well,
this had to be-
until the turnaround.
This had to be after The
Matilda.
Professional, right?
I think Professional was 94, right? So
Yeah,
I
so
think that was the year
yeah.
before.
Because she looked younger in The Professional than this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be makeup and hairstyle and everything else.
Matilda.
Yeah.
Jean Reno could have been in this movie.
Yeah.
But this is 2 weeks in a row we're talking about Jean Reno.
Yeah. Yep. You want to give final thoughts there, Hayden? You like the movie? Not like the movie?
I absolutely love this movie. If you've not seen it, go see it. It's a lot of fun. It's a great story. It's great performances, great action. It's well shot. Nothing to dislike. This is a great movie. This is the blueprint for cops, robbers, heist movies. Check it out.
Sophomore?
I liked it. I enjoyed watching it. Am I going to throw it on a random Tuesday night? Probably not for me. I think I watched it. I liked it. I'll watch the best scenes again in a YouTube compilation because I really enjoyed those scenes. Went a tad bit long, but it made sense. Once you got to the end, you understood why it went there. During the movie, I was a little like, we still have an entire another movie to get through. But overall, enjoyable watch. Would recommend watching through it at least once, and it might become a masterpiece for you.
I want to leave you with this thought was that Michael Mann last year came out with a book called Heat 2, which is the prequel to this. And I haven't read it yet. I have it on my nightstand, but it's in my to-be-read list, and I'm anxious to read it. So, I guess it's Macaulay down in Mexico and Pacino's character on a side quest to grab another crew, I guess. So
And
excited to
when
read
Girl
it.
comes back to life, and
Michael Mann is in his 80s now, so if he's going to make this thing, he better get on it.
I don't see any which way he will. I mean,
Well, look at Ridley Scott. He's still making 2 movies a year, and he's almost 90.
not after the last one he financed.
He's just a production company, man. Like, they just churn movies out. Every year, he's at least one.
Look, that last one didn't make $3 million, and he put $100 million of his own money into that.
Well, Gladiator 2 made a lot, though.
Have you seen that yet?
I started it, and I couldn't get past, like, the opening scene.
And it was just as terrible. Hayden, it was.
Yeah.
People are sitting there like, oh, Denzel deserved an Academy Award nomination for this, and I'm like, what movie were you watching? 'Cause it was not the one I was watching.
No. Yeah, I couldn't get past the opening scene.
There's a scene in the movie, Hayden, not to give anything away. Have you seen it, Sophomore?
No, I haven't. And after hearing this, I'm kind of glad we were going to go to the movies to watch it, and then something happened. We wound up not going that night, and we never rescheduled the ticket. So
there's 2 emperors, and one of them gets off. I'm not gonna tell you how.
Yeah.
So we gotta have a co-ruler. What do we name the monkey? He's gonna be our co-ruler.
Oh, boy.
And it's like, okay, yeah. That's like the best part of the movie. It's like, totally did not see that freaky shit coming. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just really not. Yeah, it was not very good. Not very well done.
Yeah,
It pales in comparison. It's a shame because they had some scenes in there that could have really been very well done, but they just were not.
Yeah.
You know, the water scene was really kind of glanced over. They got sharks in there. I'm like, where are you getting a shark from? Or an alligator, just you go around eating people. I'm like, come on, where is this? You know, I don't know.
Really playing up the whole. They used to flood it and have sea battles. It's like we get it. I don't think they had polar bears
on dirt ground. Yeah, it's just,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so Gladiator 2 was no, but Heat yes. So.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our review of Heat for its 30th anniversary. Christopher, what do we got next time?
Captain America 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
It's actually Captain America 4.
Well, look, hey. 4 and the Fantastic Four. I don't know. Even that looks like
Captain America.
I've been telling you for weeks now. I'm keeping an open mind. I like all these Captain America movies. I like the Sam Wilson character. I can wrap my head around this whole thing. I have deliberately not watching the trailers, but the early reviews on this thing got me very kind of. I'm shaking already. I'm like, I don't know if I can hold my popcorn and my soda at the same time.
Well, that's going to be on Wednesday, February 26th. We'll be back with the review of Captain America: Brave New World.
Is it February or is it the Thursday, the 27th?
No, the 26th. 27th, I'm out. So
all right, 26th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I got to write that down. Okay.
Join us for that. Stick around. We'll be back with our very special true crime entry into true crime, and we'll see what we got going on with that. So hang around. We'll be right back. Sophomore, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
If you guys enjoy what you see here, give us a like, subscribe. If not, we thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.